Hello and welcome to The Breakdown, the orthopedic podcast where we dig deep into the world of bones, joints, and everything orthopedics. I'm your host, Lauren, and today we're stepping into a world you've definitely interacted with, but probably haven't given much thought about. We're talking about call centers in healthcare, the unseen heroes and masters of hold music. That's right, we're dialing into the heart of patient access. We'll explore why call centers even exist in a world where we all wish we could just pick up the phone and call our doctor directly, or maybe just shoot them a little text. We'll look at how our team is connecting patients to the appropriate care group and how the right voice, backed by the right technology, is making a huge difference in patients' lives. And be sure to hang to the end because we'll be taking a peek behind the curtain to talk to some of our longest standing call center agents, people who've heard it all, handled it all, and still show up every day with empathy, grit, and what their secret is to surviving the phone lines on a Monday. I have with us here today Mary Kate Wacker. Mary Kate is our Associate Director of Patient Access and has worked here at Rothman for 8 years. Mary Kate, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into the call center, the nitty-gritty. For me, and I feel for most, the general perception of a call center brings about frustration, maybe, and I hope I'm not hurting your feelings.
Not at all. I get it. I've called call centers before.
I know, right, exactly. So if I literally have to call Easy Pass later today because I can't handle what I need handled online and I'm just dreading the call. But when I am immediately greeted by, the robotic prompt system, I get anxious and I get impatient. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have long wait times. I'm going to be pressing buttons, being placed on hold, transferred, whatever happens. A lot of times I'll just keep hitting the 0 and hoping that I'm one of those and that I'll be directly connected with a live person. Does that work, by the way, with our system?
I will not disclose.
That's great. But I just feel that our world today, we live in such an instantaneous world where, for instance, so last night, our children get done school late on Thursdays at 5 o'clock. So I pick them up. We do the car line. So I pull into car line. And while I'm waiting for them to come out, I literally ordered dinner right there on the phone. And everybody has their own thing, what they like, ordered it. They pop in the car, swing around, get the food, go home, set the table. Within 20 minutes, we had everything done, and I didn't speak to a single person. Not a single person, because it was all through the phone. So I'm just amazed at how many callers we get.
Yes.
That still want to talk on the phone to handle their healthcare needs when we offer so many online services. So let's get into that first. What is our call volume? How many calls are we getting a day at Rothman?
It really depends on the day. I would say it can average anywhere between 4,000 to 9,000. Monday being our highest call volume day. Yeah. And if, you're catching us right after a holiday or after a snowstorm.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it can exceed those numbers.
Right. And how many agents, what do we refer them to? Our schedulers? Schedulers, agents, what's the official term?
Ultimately, they're all our team members, right? I think it really depends on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Sure, we could use agent or representative or employee, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'd say we're all team members.
Yeah.
Right?
So how many team members do we have answering these phones every day?
Sure. So it can depend on the call volume or this season, because we're really trying to staff to our volume at hand.
Right.
So I would say between 50 to 80 is a good representation of that.
Got it. So you mentioned the season. What season would warrant more callers than another?
Well, sometimes your winter seasons, right? You have a lot of ice or snow from the falls, or sports season. A lot of acute injuries that need to be seen.
Right. So is the number one reason why patients call to schedule their appointment? That's ultimately the reason why people are calling, right?
Yeah.
What would the number two reason be? What are the other calls that we're getting?
People are calling to get their prescriptions refilled, or they need directions. They want to ask questions about the provider. They want to talk to their provider. They're having some recent pain, or, they just want to connect with someone to talk a little bit more about their medical history.
So I guess with this amount this volume that comes in, it's important to have an organized system. And that's why call centers exist, and the triage and the prompts and everything, because otherwise it would just be chaos.
Yes.
It would just be utter chaos. So just very briefly, just explain how we organize our call center. You know, how when I call in, I don't even know I haven't called our call center.
You have that backline number.
Right, I got the backline. Or like the VIP,
Yes.
email that I use when I have to, every day, literally, and I CC you on everything. So thank you for that.
You're
I CC
welcome.
you on all
Anytime.
my appointment
We have
requests.
a great team that handles
But
that.
so I guess, how does it work? When somebody
Sure.
calls in, what are the prompts? Is there any information that you could share with listeners that could help them along the way when they have to call Rothman?
Absolutely. Well, I'll say the first thing, don't just hit 0, right?
Okay.
Because the reason why we have this interactive prompt system is really to get the patient to the right person to speak to, and ultimately to the right physician or the right person that can help handle their call.
Yeah.
So we've really built into our IVR,
What's
our phone
IVR?
system, our interactive voice response system. So it's really the phone system.
The IVR. Okay.
But we have built a system out where we're asking if they're a new patient or they're an existing patient. Are they calling in to reschedule or to cancel their appointment? Are they calling in for physical therapy or billing? Reason why we ask these questions, again, is because we have people who are trained to handle specific call types and specific departments. So we want to make sure we get them over to the right representative that can ultimately handle their call.
Awesome.
And, we train people specifically in our scheduling team to handle specific body parts so that they can answer a little bit more than they could if they weren't, trained for that specific body part.
So
or
is that
injury.
part of the cue? Like if I'm having shoulder pain, I would hit a certain button and then that would prompt me or transfer me over to the shoulder team. And then But how do they know it's truly a shoulder problem? Like, because a lot of body parts overlap. So for instance, I could be having neck pain up here. So what type of training, I guess, do the schedulers go through? They'd have to have some type of medical training, right? To kind of understand the anatomy of the body and who it's appropriate to be seen. Because, even within the shoulder team, there are certain doctors that would see certain things as opposed to others, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And great question. So we really train them on a region of the body. So shoulder, neck, hand and wrist, elbow, so that they can truly understand if it is a shoulder issue or is that pain stemming from somewhere else.
Right.
And we really collaborate, and this is a little bit of the secret sauce, but we collaborate with the service chiefs to really determine what some of the best questions are to ask the patient to help get them to the most appropriate provider.
And just to explain what the service chiefs are, so we have subspecialties at Rothman, just for the listeners, and each subspecialty has a service chief. So it's a physician within that service that heads up that department. So our shoulder department has a service chief, spine has a service chief, and they pretty much oversee everything. So you guys collaborate with them on finding out what questions so that they can appropriately schedule with the right doctor. All right, so with the volume of all of these calls, and we understand how the whole triage system works with the prompts and everything, are there times maybe that we could share with the listeners that maybe you wouldn't want to call? There's peak times. Are there extra hold times? Like, what is our average hold time? And I'm sure it varies depending on the day, right?
Certainly. I mean, Mondays are absolutely our busiest day, right? Because we're not open on the weekend. So everybody is calling in first thing on a Monday morning. I would say Mondays are a peak day. And it kind of trails down throughout the week. And then for a peak time, I think 9 a.m., once people get their day started and, they're off of the road from traveling, or maybe they're still on the road traveling, tend to see, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. being some peak times. Right. We've really utilized some of our technology with online scheduling. And a new recent feature that we have instituted is just over the past couple of weeks, where if patients are waiting on hold, we have always had the callback feature, right? Where you can ask for a call back to whatever number of your choosing. But now we're also offering them to be able to receive a text message with a link to self-schedule.
Cool.
It comes on right up front before you even get into the queue, but then also comes on again while you're waiting on hold, so that you then have that option to say, you know what, I changed my mind. I can no longer wait. Let me self-schedule.
Perfect. So let's talk about online scheduling. When did we institute online scheduling? It's been a while now, right?
Yeah, I would say maybe 3 or 4 years.
Got it. And it's available for all of our physicians, right? Okay. So, and it's right on our website. So if you go to rothmanortho.com and you need an appointment, you click the make an appointment and you'll see the online scheduling option there. And I guess what's the main, because we're still getting so many calls that come through. Did we notice a decrease in call volume when we instituted online scheduling?
Yeah, we absolutely have seen a decrease. And over the course of time, we've continued to see spikes in online scheduling.
Good.
But there are some call types that we would want patients to call in for.
Right.
If they have a fracture, an acute injury, we're not going to allow them to self-schedule because we want to make sure we get them in a timely manner.
Yeah.
So in those cases, we're going to direct them to call in.
Got it. Are there any other cases where patients should call rather than schedule online?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think those are the two main reasons we would want them to call in, again, just to make sure that we're handling their injury, as quickly and efficiently as we can.
Right. And how soon are patients getting appointments?
So it depends on the issue that they're having, right?
Yeah.
If they are having a fracture or they just had a recent injury, that's going to warrant them to come in within 24 to 48 hours. Or if they've recently been discharged from the ER and the ER is telling them to come in rather urgently, they'll communicate that with us. And, we'll make sure to get them the best as we can to a provider.
Right.
But if some people are having some chronic pain, then, we'll get them in the next available appointment.
Yeah. Are you noticing with online scheduling a certain demographic? Like, are you noticing it's more the younger? Because I feel like the younger patients are so savvy on the cell phones and all the apps and everything. And maybe the older generation, not so much. Do you notice that, or is it pretty split?
Yeah, I think it can vary. I think it depends on where people are in their lives or where they are in that day, right? If they're sitting in the car and they can easily call. If not, they're sitting in bed in the middle of the night and they're in pain and they decide at 3 a.m., now's going to be the time that I schedule an appointment, right? So I think it really can vary. I myself like a good online scheduling, but there are times where
you need to speak to
personally
someone.
Want to speak to someone.
Yeah, right. And you mentioned, Mondays are the peak time because you're closed over the weekends, but online scheduling never closes.
Never closes.
So if a patient is in pain over the weekend or, in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., they can go on and schedule and have their appointment ready for them maybe that next day, maybe that afternoon if there's an opening.
Absolutely. They can schedule online. They can connect with their provider on our website. They can cancel their appointment. They can reschedule. Really, almost the opportunities are endless.
Yeah. It's almost like open table, for when you manage your reservation. Here, you manage your appointment.
Yes.
You can cancel, reschedule, what have you. What are our call center hours? What are the hours?
Sure. So they're 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay. All right. Good. So what happens when somebody calls outside of those hours? Does it just direct you to call back? Or like if a patient has an emergency and, they're having pain, or say it's like a post-op injury that they have and they call after hours, what happens?
We have an on-call service that it'll connect them to so that they can triage the call and then get them to the on-call provider.
Perfect. And that's a medically trained person like a nurse or a physician assistant or somebody like that can basically not treat them over the phone, but guide them appropriately over the phone to whatever their next steps are. All right. So earlier we talked about, the training that the schedulers, the team members go through, especially with the anatomy and working with the service chiefs and things like that. Let's talk about customer service for a minute. So I'm sure that this role presents its challenges, especially people that are in pain. They may not have the patience, to kind of, so I'm sure our team members are dealing with a lot, they're dealing with frustrated people. Are there any customer service techniques that you use in training for our team members, or what are some tips, some things that you instill in our team members?
I would say first and foremost, very early on in their training, we meet with them as a leadership team and really explain to them that patients are not calling in to book a trip to Disney World, right?
Right.
They are calling in because they're in pain. They wanted to be seen yesterday, right? And they don't want to be seen a week from now or 2 weeks from now. So really, it's just explaining to them why patients are calling in and that we want to be sympathetic and empathetic with them and, understanding of their issue. And frankly, that we want to treat patients the way that we would want to be treated or we want our parents to be treated or our children to be treated. So, we give them that training, that encouragement very early on. And then we obviously go over some phone etiquette and ways to de-escalate calls. Because again, sometimes we understand patients are upset, they're injured or they're frustrated. And, we want to give our team the guidance or the best training that we can on how to handle those calls and what to expect, really.
Right. I remember I was in a training, this is years ago, but we all sort of went through it at Rothman. And I don't even know who did the training, like what company it was, but it stuck with me and they encouraged us to each have a mirror at our station. And they said, when you speak to someone, make sure you're smiling because the person on the other line can hear your smile. And I think that's so true.
I love that.
If you just smile while you're talking. Did you notice my voice just went up while I was talking? Like, it really does make a difference. And on the other line, for the patients that are frustrated, to hear someone that, loves their job. And we're so lucky at Rothman. We really have dedicated, loyal employees that want to do the right thing and they care.
They do.
They care about these patients. But it really makes a huge difference. So a small little thing like that, just to smile, you really notice the difference. So in the title of this episode, I mention the hold music, okay? I know this is a small detail, but I'm sure it has a large impact. Was there any thought given to the hold music that we use? What is our hold music? Like I said, I haven't called into the line in forever. So what do we have as our hold music?
So it's interesting you bring this up.
Yeah.
I would say if you asked me this a couple weeks ago, I would have said elevator type music, right?
Yeah.
But over the past couple of weeks, we engaged our team to help us pick out some new hold music.
Fun.
Yes, very exciting. So we picked from about 50 different hold music types. There was contemporary, jazz, light jazz. You name it, we listened to it and sent some samples over to the team and really let them vote and decide on what they felt like patients should hear when they're listening.
I love it.
The decision was made to go with light jazz. And the title of it is called Smooth Character.
Smooth Character.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
And now, for your listening pleasure, here's that new hold music. Quick update while you listen. Since recording this episode, we launched a new feature called the Waitlist. If you're hoping to get a sooner appointment, you can now join our Rothman Waitlist. Let's jump back in to learn how it works. So, tell me about this wait list. So, okay, now I'm going to put you on the wait list. So how does that work?
So they'll go on the wait list, and when an appointment becomes available, they'll receive a text message asking them if they want the appointment. They'll have a certain time frame to respond back, whether they want that appointment or not.
Okay.
And if they accept that appointment, it basically slides them into that slot.
So they don't have to talk to anybody. That's all on the phone.
All on the phone.
I love it.
Yes.
I love when I don't have to talk to anybody.
Sometimes you and me both.
I have voicemails that it'll be a week and a half later and I'll be like, oh my God, I had a voicemail. I didn't even know. Because I don't answer any calls that I don't know the phone number from. How does that work with Rothman? Does it show up as Rothman calling?
It does.
Do you know?
Shows up.
It does.
Yes.
That's key.
Yes.
That is key because I've missed mostly like pediatrician, for my kids or whatever. I've missed calls because I didn't recognize the number. And even though I have their main number saved, sometimes they call from like a different line in the office.
Right.
But that's key that it says Rothman so people know to pick up the phone.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's great. So, so they get the text message and it'll say, do you accept, Dr. So-and-so has a sooner appointment. It's on this date. It's this time. Yep. Do you accept? Yes or no? If they click yes, they're automatically in. They don't have to do anything more.
As long as they answered in that time frame, they've gotten that appointment.
So if you're on the wait list, make sure you keep your phone handy and that you have your sound on or your vibrator because my phone is on silent always.
All the time. Mine too.
Yes. Ever since I had our first son, I put the phone on on silent. I never put it back on again.
Yeah, I can
never
agree
put the
with you.
volume on again. I didn't care about anything else.
Remember the times when we would pay for our ringtones?
Oh my God, yes.
And now here we are with our cell phones on silent all the time.
Yes. Yeah, right. Oh my God, that's so funny.
And I'm thankful to our team for the work that they do every day.
Oh my gosh,
patients calling in again. We say this a million times, but they're calling in pain, and we appreciate when they're patient with us and, understand that we're doing the best that we can to get them in, and we understand their pain, and frankly, we want to do what's best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important for the people calling in to know the training that the team goes through and to trust them.
Yeah.
To trust them, because I know with me, I get appointment requests all the time, and patients will say, "Oh, I want to see Dr. So-and-so," but you're going to be wasting your time by seeing that physician because he's just going to refer you to the other physician that you should be set up with. So trusting the team in that, they're trained, they know, they talk with the doctors every day. They're talking with the division chiefs.
Yes.
They have the protocols down. Trust the process.
Yes, trust the process.
The system. Yeah. And before we close, I do just want to, reiterate our website, rothmanortho.com. There's so many tools there on the website. Patients can online schedule. They can request a prescription refill. They can request to speak with their physician, connect with their healthcare team. All of that can be done right on our website. So rothmanortho.com. There's buttons. I oversee the website. So if anybody has comments on how we can make the website, if anybody has comments, questions about the call center, about our website, please put them in the comments below. And we love it. We love the interaction, from people. It helps us to improve and helps us to become better and deliver better service.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Mary Kate, this was so much fun.
Thank you so much
for coming in person.
I know.
Thank
I'm so happy I came.
At the top of the show, I mentioned that we'd be hearing from a couple of our longtime schedulers, and now's the moment we've been waiting for. Get ready to meet two incredibly special members of our Rothman family. These ladies have been at the heart of our patient experience since the days when Rothman was just a fraction of the size that it is now, and when everyone knew everyone. I'm thrilled to introduce Mary Pelishati and Judy Pantaleo, two of our treasured schedulers who have been with Rothman for more than 3 decades. That's right, 3 decades of answering calls, comforting patients, juggling schedules and physicians, and navigating change. Mary and Judy have heard it all, they've seen it all, and they lived through every chapter of Rothman's growth. They are the voices so many of our patients have trusted, the calm and countless stressful moments, and the true heartbeat of our call center. I'm so grateful that they're here to share their stories, their humor, and the wisdom that comes from over 30 years on the front lines of patient care. So without further ado, let's bring in Mary and Judy. Hello,
Hi,
friends.
welcome to Rothman Orthopaedics. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Oh, good morning, guys. I'm so happy to see you. When I hear your voices and see your faces, well, I just want to point out that you both did not want to be filmed. I totally get it. We're doing beautiful glamour shots of both of you guys on the screen, and we're going to post some pictures of you guys over these 30 plus years that you've been at Rothman. So it's so great to see you guys and hear your voices, because to me, you guys are home. We've been together. I know we don't work that closely together, but we're still, in each other's worlds and still reach out to each other. And I'm so happy for you for taking some time to talk with me today. So welcome.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
So tell me, what year was it? What was the year that you started?
January 8th, 1990.
1990.
1990.
And Jude, how about for you?
That would be August the 5th, 1995.
I love it. The 90s. Take us back to the 90s. Truly, I feel like the 90s were so fun. We were unhealthy then, like as a people.
Right.
It was a little unhealthy, but it was fun. Like now we're healthy and no fun, I feel like. I don't know. But take us back to what scheduling looked like in the 90s. What did it look like?
Prime example, I used to type the schedules for Dr. Rothman, his fellow, and nurse with the patient's name, date of birth, and what body part they were coming in for on a piece of paper on an old typewriter.
No!
So it took the information out of a book. So we had books on the counter for each physician, each fellow, and each nurse, and in there you had to take out 10 o'clock. I had to type in the computer 10 o'clock, Mrs. Smith, right hip.
Okay.
And then Dr. Rothman went off that schedule all day seeing patients.
Oh my God. That had to take a long time though. Now, Judy, when you came in 1995, were we still on typewriters then, or did we move to the computer?
Computer.
Okay.
Actually, I started out as the operator. And that's how they started you back then, because then you get familiar with everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't last long on the operator line. One day I felt a hand on my shoulder, which was Dr. Rothman himself. Aww. And remember, Mary? And he asked me if I would like to join the foot and ankle, not the foot and ankle, I'm so sorry. The
joint
hip and knee. The hip
Mm-hmm.
and knee joint team. And of course I did. And I spent 8 to 9 years on that team.
So what's one thing that you got, like if you had to pick one thing that has changed the most from the 90s to present day?
Technology.
Yeah.
It's we had beepers back then.
Right.
You know, you had a beeper. You didn't have a cell phone
direct,
and,
yeah.
you know, the direct contact Tiger Texan and all that stuff that we have now.
Yeah. So, all right. So technology is the big thing that's changed, but what's something that has stayed exactly the same? Jude, what would you say stayed exactly the same from the 90s to present day?
I mean, there's so many changes that I guess my voice stayed the same.
That same Judy voice that I love.
I do think that our camaraderie has really stayed the same with everyone who has been here, including physicians.
Yeah.
That we have really stayed the same and the same level and the same respect.
Yes.
I think that we have for each other.
Still to today, knowing them all, we can pick up the phone and call any one of them that we worked through the
At
years.
home.
We were treated just so unbelievable. That's what kept us here.
Yeah.
It was just wind up being, it's in our blood. And that's where we're at. And each one of them were just special, very special.
So just keeping in that theme of the good old days and the 90s and everything, what is a piece of Rothman history that maybe some of our newer employees may have no idea about, or maybe something that you remember about Dr. Rothman? I think we have been blessed in that we were able to work side by side with Dr. Rothman, learn from him directly. I mean, he really was such a great teacher and such a great human, such a great person. And I really do feel so fortunate that, you know, we were there to be with him and learn from him directly. So going back to the question, what's something that you think newer employees may not know about him or the history of Rothman?
Well, let's do Rothman. Mary, let me get this one.
Go ahead.
Because I remember this so well.
Go, Jude, yeah.
We had ashtrays at our desk.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Yes,
See, I was saying in the 90s, we weren't that healthy. So
No, you could smoke in the office. You could smoke in the hospital.
I love it. I love it.
But there was ashtrays on the desk, smokeless ashtrays. So that's something they wouldn't know. Yeah.
And real quick, when you're talking about your desk, we have a picture of you that we're going to flash with all your Post-it notes. Your Post-it notes, Judy.
Oh boy, my little
did they follow you over the years? Did you keep all those Post-its?
Oh my goodness, that's how you did back then. I mean, everything was Post-it. You didn't forget anything. But by the time, years later, as me and Mary know, we can do it blindfolded at this point.
Yeah, right. All right, so let's transition over to life in the call center. So over these 30 years, without giving away any personal details, what was the funniest? I gave you this question in advance to maybe give you some time to think about it, but what was the funniest or most unexpected patient call that you've ever gotten?
Oh, we got so many funny stories. But there is one that sticks to my mind.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, back then, we were trained by the doctors. The doctors trained us, and they trained us well. Okay. They were perfectionists with their patient, they wanted their patients taken care of very well. And you had to make sure that they are appropriate on their schedule. So one day, in the beginning, we'll go back the years when I was training, okay, from the doctors. And one doctor was on a joint team. I had a phone call, and the gentleman told me, I asked, back then it was off the cuff. You had no script. There was no script. This was all in your head. It all was melted from the doctors banging it in your head. But again, it's the beginning. And the gentleman said to me he needed the double knee replacement, bilateral. So I said, okay, and I asked a few questions. Were you evaluated? You were told this? Yes. So then I put it on the joint doctor's schedule. So before you know it, back then we were very close. We would run down to the pod if they needed us. But if you seen their name come up during working hours.
Something was wrong, yeah.
Okay, I see the name come up. Could you come down to the pod, please? So I said, sure, I'll be right there.
I'm already laughing because I know the story.
I'm sweating.
So I run down, and he says to me, can I ask you a question? And I said, yes. He said, what am I supposed to do here? And I said, I'm not sure what you're talking about. And he said, and he pointed me into a direction to look at a gentleman in a wheelchair with bilateral amputations. He had no,
he didn't have knees.
No. And he said, he's on for a double knee, bilateral knee replacement. And the only thing that came to my mind was, oh my.
He needed knee prosthetics.
Yes. But back then they don't, he didn't know. He told me knee replacements. And you believe, I truly believe when they're telling me, especially if I ask that question, have you been evaluated? But I think, that call was something to train me on. And that's why I was pulled down there.
What am I supposed to do with this?
What am I supposed to do with it?
Oh,
but he was training me in a sense to say, ask more questions. And, and he giggled at the end. So there was a training kind of.
Oh, that poor man. I hope,
it was prosthetic. So actually we took care of him, of course, and got him to the where he needed to go. But just to say, back then, when you're training like that, but I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
It's the best way to train. And
So now let's come to present day. We have all these wonderful memories, and I know why you guys do it, helping the patients and everything. What are your tips for handling that stress? And, when you have new hires that come in and you're training them, what are your tips to them in surviving the call center?
I always recommend staying calm. Stay calm.
Take a breath.
Absolutely stay calm.
Yeah.
It will get done. Yeah. Everything will get done. Every call will be answered. Yeah. You just have to take your time with it. Listen to what the patient is asking. Yeah. That is the major thing. You listen to what they want, because if you're not listening, that throws everything off. Yeah. But as long as you're listening, then you'll be able to get through that call and the 100th call behind it.
Yep. Right. Yeah. When I used to teach the customer service to, the employees, and we had this acronym, and it was HEAT, HEAT. The H, hear them out. Number one, hear them out. When you let people have that opportunity to just speak and talk and give what their issues are or whatever it is, that resolves a lot of it right there. Right. E, empathize, which you guys have clearly stated that you do. You empathize with the patient. A, if there's a problem that they had, apologize for. I'm sorry that you had this issue, whatever. And then T, take action like you guys do. Take action, make it happen, get them in with the doctor or whatever it is that you have to do, you want to come through. So those steps I feel like are so key in dealing with, maybe not that they're unhappy. Yeah, I guess they're unhappy patients or whatever, but they're having.
I think they're just frustrated.
Sometimes. Yes.
Maybe
right.
getting through the system, they're frustrated.
Yeah.
When you do have to hit prompts, it does, it's not like it was before. You had one person, one line.
Yeah.
So now it's the prompts and things like that. And they're afraid if they hit the wrong prompt, oh, I'm so sorry. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll help you.
We'll help you. Yeah. Right. Guys, this was so fun. Just getting to talk with you guys and the stories and everything. This is great.
We're on to many more years to come. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do this in another 10 years.
Right. And if you wanted to hear a lot of stories, we've had so many to tell. We need 4 or 5 hours with you and you'd be rolling. But I think we covered most of the
all the good stuff
back in the day.
All the good
I
stuff.
love it. Well, this was great. Thank you guys for everything.
Thank you for having us.
Your continued
it was our
service
pleasure
to
be here.
Rothman. Oh no. Yeah, let's just say that. So when you answer the phones, welcome to Rothman Orthopaedics.
Rothman Orthopaedics. This is Mary. How may I help you?
I love it.
Don't forget, good morning. Welcome to Rothman Orthopaedics. This is Judy. How may I help you? And then good afternoon.
You're welcome.
But you got to remember when it's morning and afternoon because sometimes it can trip you up.
Right.
Because you're going so fast all day.
And then you always say it's my pleasure to help you.
My pleasure.
Right. My pleasure.
I remember when we started that. I remember when we started saying my pleasure.
I didn't get to go to Disney to learn it, but
I didn't either.
Right?
But yeah, I use that all the time with everything. I think it's so fancy.
Yeah.
It's so fancy.
Yeah, it gets like in your head that I even say it when I'm walking out the grocery store. My pleasure.
My
and
pleasure. I love it. Yeah, that's our little signature at closing. Well, ladies, it's been a true pleasure. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you both.
Thanks
I wish I could give you hugs. Yes, I got to see you guys soon.
Love you.
Lord,
all
love
right.
you.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Big thanks to our guests, and as always, to you for listening. Thank you. Whether you're a healthcare professional, a patient, or someone who's just curious about how call centers work, we hope you're walking away with a little more clarity and understanding. Be sure to stay tuned for more episodes and feel free to send in your questions. Until then, stay healthy, stay strong, and take charge of your health. I'm Lauren, and you've been listening to The Breakdown.